What's going on, everybody? Welcome to American Fire. I'm Ace. I will be your host tonight. We have a lot to talk about, my friends. A lot to talk about. Continuing the Epstein saga. Whoa, what's going on? Hold on. That was loud. Sorry, guys. Getting some sound reverb in there. Anyways, continuing the Epstein saga, along with a lot of other happenings going on. We have some deep dive stuff to go on, especially the Obama administration, what happened with Kathy Ruemmler. Got to break that down. Steve Bannon issued his statement tonight, his response to the Epstein files, and I found it quite pathetic. We'll talk about why tonight, and then more and more with the masshole himself, Thomas Massie. Got to expose him because it just keeps getting worse the deeper you go into this man. Anyways, missed you guys. Hope you had a good President's Day. I took yesterday off. I needed the rest. And being that it was a holiday, I figured it was a good time. Still not 100% tonight, so bear with me, but I'm going to do my best. So before we get started, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We are getting into it. If you're on X, hit that repost. I appreciate it. Let's see who's in the Chizat tonight, and then we'll get moving. Z-Grooms, numero uno. What's up, buddy? Cat Sync, what's up? Vince Felice in the house. Buddy, you're up late. Glad you made it. Moody Waters, how you doing, friend? R. Will, Cities Country, what's going on? Wago Waco, what's up, brother? MRTKO, Alice Fordham, Scott Volkovich, Frank Anastasio, AZ Tropic over there on Rumble. Jesus Saved, what's going on, brother? And CJ Yukon so far. Nick Majors, what's going on, my friend? Good to see y'all. Vince says, everything on X right now is BS. It's not as fun as it used to be. Why? Because MAGA's infighting. There's a lot of infighting going on right now because the PSYOP, just like the title of my last live, guys, the PSYOP is out of freaking control right now. And so we're going to do our best to break through it. What's going on, Christina Abbott? Good to see you as always. Listen, guys, we have, did you guys see Rubio's speech on Sunday? I can't tell you. If you guys don't think we're winning, I don't know where you're paying attention. So, quick note, I've been repurposing videos from my lives, so quicker clips for everybody to watch. I hope you guys are enjoying those. Some of you catch up later. But I got to say, man, people are not happy with me as my breakdowns on a couple things lately, but specifically the breakdown I did on Russia, the breakdown I did on Bannon. People are getting big mad. And also getting lots and lots of people really upset over my exposing of Thomas Massie. So, you wonder how many are bots, how many are just trying to bring a good man down. But I got to tell you, my show is not nearly big enough to get this kind of attention. So I must be striking a nerve. And, I'll take it. Thank you so much, Christina Abbott, for the $7 donation. Very, very grateful to you. For the support, as always. Pam Hayes says, Massie parroting the Democrats talk. Oh, we're going to get there, Pam. Don't worry. For the love, says Rubio, so good. I completely agree with you. And actually, because he's so good, we're going to start with him tonight. The first thing I wanted to bring up tonight is just, listen, one of the things that I've been really getting hit hard on lately is that, my exposing of Bannon and the Epstein files, these breakdowns I'm doing, people are getting big mad, and they are really, really upset that I am not considering Trump the cover up. It is the biggest, boy, you better accept the narrative kind of bashing you could believe. It's crazy. It's just nonstop. No, this is how it really is. This is the truth. You're an idiot. You don't get what's happening. Can you not see it? Trump is one of them. And it's you guys who watch this show know that every little thing, even if you disagree with me, I don't think anybody could ever say I don't bring receipts for why I think what I do. I always have receipts. I always have reasons, and I always have a logical trail. There's just no getting around it. And one made me laugh. They were like, how much you getting paid for this, bro? It's like, dude, if you knew how little I get paid for doing this show, you'd laugh. By the way, if I was getting paid, why would they be paying me this little show? So I take it as a badge of honor. I think it's excellent. I actually love seeing it because to me, you know, the algo finds all the stuff that they don't want out there. And by the way, I got to tell you, I was first on the Bannon stuff. Nobody else was covering it except me. And today the New York freaking Times is covering it. So again, you guys get the news first here. I got to say, you watch this show. I'm going to get it first because I'm not afraid and because I'm not paid for. I don't have to filter my content. I don't have to check in with an editor. I don't have to check in with a handler. I just get to see something and say, red alert, this is what I got to talk about. And so if I hope that makes you guys feel better for watching this show and taking a chance on the little guy over here. Nick Major says, because I'm telling the truth. That's what it feels like. Brett, you're back, man. I've missed you, friend. It's good to have you in the chat, man. It's been a bit. It says crackheads will be crackheads, like Obama talking about aliens. You know, what did you say? That till the dude they were looking in the mirror looks like a retarded Curious George smoking moon pies. Brett, you've been missed. That's the comments I missed, my friend. Yeah, Obama talking about aliens. What a distraction that was. It's all distraction. They're trying to get us focused on other things because they're in desperation mode trying to knock down the Trump administration. They're going full bore. Louis likes the intro song. Thank you so much for that, friend. Okay. Pam says, think the take's well thought out. They fear people are listening. You know, did Dinesh call him out tonight? Oh, wow. Should have told him I'm not getting paid enough. That's right. Oh, brother. What were you in the hospital for? Brett says he's been in the hospital. So we missed you, man. Hey, don't feel like you got to do any moderating tonight, brother. Just enjoy the show. I'm glad you're back, and I'm so sorry to hear you're in the hospital. That sucks. So thanks, Louie. I appreciate you. You guys are the best, man. I'm gone for a couple of days and you guys just blowing up the chat and with so many nice things. Thank you guys. I really appreciate my group here. This is the best. I say it all the time. This is the best community on the internet. I dare you to pick a better one. Maybe you guys have some great ones, but between these shows where we all get together and talk, and in the Discord group on the Patreon, man, it is the best group. So, oh man, Brett, I'm so sorry, bro. Well, we'll send up a prayer for you at the end of tonight's show so that that clears up for good. But yeah, man, they're scared. You know, they are so scared. And if you doubt that we're winning, look at Rubio today or the other day. I'm only going to play this clip. I highly recommend checking out the entire speech. It's not that long. It's like 25 minutes. It will go down as one of the greatest speeches ever given by an American on foreign soil. It just will. And it's so important for where we're going. Do you guys understand? We are in the Jesus country. Oh man, Tony De Niro, you crack me up. Okay, I can't read the chat right now. I'm trying to go through this. You guys are cracking me up tonight. So many people are mad about certain things with Trump and the Trump administration. Okay, whether it's they're not deporting enough, whether how ICE has acted, whether it's no arrests on the Epstein stuff, which is nonsense, by the way. I mean, Epstein himself and Ghislaine were both arrested. Luke Brunel taken out. Several people have lost their jobs. There's all kinds of arrests going on foreign countries right now. People falling from grace. I mean, it's coming, but also everybody forgets the fact that most of the victims have already been paid out in civil trials. $450 million was paid out to the victims. So there's just not going to be a lot that comes out of this except for exposure and ruining careers and lives in the best way. They're going to get justice by the crowd. Okay. But yeah, there's not as much they can do. By the way, somebody made an excellent point the other day on the arrest. And they said that, you can't do arrests by emails only. You got to have witnesses willing to testify. Well, if all the witnesses have already been paid off from civil trials, they're under NDAs, which may force them to pay the money back if they go to trial or whatever. I don't know the details they signed for that money, but many of them aren't coming forward. And the victims that are coming forward, several of them are shady, and several of them just worked with Reid Hoffman, who's one of the biggest predators out there, to create a commercial. So are these people real? I don't know. But several of them were not accepted by the victim program that paid out the money. So, there's so much more going on here to get upset about no arrests. But meanwhile, while everybody's focused on the Epstein files, the Trump administration is literally remaking the world order, like literally remaking it. They are completely breaking us free of Europe. They are completely setting ablaze the system, the global cabal system that is the main reason our economy has been what it's been the last several decades, because we entered into that and allowed them to pillage us. We're breaking that. We're breaking their hold over us. We're destroying. Trump is dismantling the deep state. He's remaking our economy. He's bringing back justice to the country, and all this crime is going down nationwide, 100-year lows of crime, especially murder. He is getting illegals out at the best pace possible with the resources we have. It is happening. It is happening. And meanwhile, we're all focused on these files, which we got to talk about this stuff because it is important, but it's not what everybody says it is. It's not a cover up. That is the dumbest thing ever. Anytime somebody says it's a cover up, it drives me crazy because it's the most low IQ way of expressing being upset. It shows no logical trace at all and no knowledge whatsoever of how we got here. Trump is the only reason we ever heard about Epstein at all. If it wasn't for Trump, the only mentions of Epstein we'd ever have is Random Allusions to Islands by Alex Jones. That's it. That would be as far as it ever went. And we'd still be talking about, wow, Alex Jones talks about this island, blah, 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 and other people on the dark web, chat groups. That's it. Because of Trump came in. We got the Q operation going where that was starting to reveal stuff. Epstein gets caught by Trump. And then the whole pushing for the file starts. Not in his first term, not during the Biden term, but in the second term. And now we have a ton. We have millions of files. All of it is because Trump. The dumbest thing ever is to say that the Trump administration is covering it up. The cover up was when all of this was going on during the Clinton administration, the Bush administration, the Obama administration, and then the Biden administration held the files. That's the cover up. There's the Trump administration. They might do some redactions you don't like. I get that. But to call the Trump administration the ones covering it up, people laugh and are mocking, the most transparent in history. You know what the most transparent means? It means the most transparent, which means compared to the others, they're the most transparent. There's no lie there. Just because you're not getting the transparency you want, just because you're not getting every little thing that you believe is in there, doesn't mean they're not being transparent, because they are by far the most transparent in history. It's not even close. And then we're at the point now where I truly believe that no matter what, people are going to be dissatisfied. Because there's several people who think there's things in the Epstein files that may or may not be in there. And if they don't see what they're expecting to see or they're hoping to see, they will always claim that it wasn't all released, even though they have no idea. And that, my friends, is when you take all of that together and how it's being used to hurt the Trump administration, that is how you get to Trump calling it a hoax. So I hope we understand that. So back to Rubio. Rubio right here explaining exactly what's really happening and why the Trump administration is going to be effective and world-changing. This is what's actually happening and what matters way more than the Epstein files, even though they do matter. Let's just listen. I just pulled this minute and a half clip I wanted you guys to hear. So let me pull up little Marco, who's not so little anymore. He's all grows up.
And finally, we can no longer place the so-called global order above the vital interests of our people and our nations. We do not need to abandon the system of international cooperation we authored, and we don't need to dismantle the global institutions of the old order that together we built. But these must be reformed. These must be rebuilt. For example, the United Nations still has tremendous potential to be a tool for good in the world. But we cannot ignore that today, on the most pressing matters before us, it has no answers and has played virtually no role. It could not solve the war in Gaza. Instead, it was American leadership that freed captives from barbarians and brought about a fragile truce. It has not solved the war in Ukraine. It took American leadership in partnership with many of the countries here today just to bring the two sides to the table in search of a still elusive peace. It was powerless to constrain the nuclear program of radical Shia clerics in Tehran. That required 14 bombs dropped with precision from American B-2 bombers. And it was unable to address the threat to our security from a narco-terrorist dictator in Venezuela. Instead, it took American special forces to bring this fugitive to justice. In a perfect world, all of these problems and more would be solved by diplomats and strongly worded resolutions. But we do not live in a perfect world. And we cannot continue to allow those who blatantly and openly threaten our citizens and endanger our global stability to shield themselves behind abstractions of international law, which they themselves routinely violate.
So you understand, like when he says that at the end, he's actually calling out them as well, the EU. Those, we cannot allow this to happen anymore to our citizens. And then, they must be reformed. They must be rebuilt. We do not need to abandon the system of international cooperation. I mean, this is powerful stuff. And the whole speech is just fantastic. But it just shows you Marco he's leading a large portion of this charge. And the reason the Trump administration has been abroad so much, which they get a lot of criticism for, is because, guys, that has to be fixed before we can fully fix here. It has to be, because these are the people who've been dipping in, who've been interfering with us, ruining everything. It starts over there. Yes, they helped create our CIA. They helped create our FBI where we're at. They helped create the deep state apparatus that is here. That is absolutely true. But it started over there. Trump isn't just solving our problems. He's solving the biggest problem in the world, which is these people. He's cleaning that up. And that matters more than any of it. The Epstein files just reveal how a lot of it worked. But the Epstein files are not the thing bringing it all down. Trump is doing the work now. Marco Rubio is doing the work now. It's fantastic. And it's succeeding at an unbelievably fast rate. Speaking of which, I had the coolest thing happen tonight. I was at a restaurant. I took my wife out for Valentine's Day late. We went tonight because it wasn't busy. And this is the wildest thing. I noticed our server had an accent. I asked him where he was from. 4 years ago, he came here from Venezuela. And he was Venezuelan. He's just talking about his life. And I asked him, like, what do you think about what's happened? He was like, it's wonderful. He's like, I got texted the night it happened. I couldn't believe it. I started calling everybody, asking. He's like, everybody's very happy. And I was like, just saying, guys, that's what Trump's doing. Don't believe everything you see on social media. Don't fall into the psyops. The real people affected by what's happening are very happy. And it's just spreading, and it's going to spread to where Americans are finally going to get happy again too. It just takes little longer. It just takes a little longer because we are a slow moving economy because we're so large. It takes a little time. So we sent Marco Rubio over there. Guess who the Democrats sent? They sent their best, AOC, front runner for one of the front runners for the presidency in 2028 for the Democratic side. I had to pull this just to show you guys how brilliant Miss AOC is. And let's all hear her wisdom together.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is a,
Get out with it.
This is, of course,
a
very long-standing policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point. And we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions
just throw out
to
big words there, girl.
Any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
Dang, that was deep. I don't know about you guys. That was pretty deep. I'm not joking. I literally think that answer just cost her shot at the presidency. We just got the best, her shot at winning the Democratic primary. We just got the most word salad, pause ridden. I mean, they stumped her. They were like, hey, come up with one solution on the fly. Crickets. It's not fair to call her dumb. It's too easy, but she's really dumb. So this is, she got those lessons from Kamala. Her problem was she didn't have enough box wine tonight. That's Kamala's secret. That's why Kamala can do that cackle. And that's, and she forgot she didn't get Kamala's tip. Kamala's tip is always, when you don't know, just cackle for a minute. Laugh like you're having the best time until something pops in your brain. She didn't get that because she has the big pause right here, which is literally cringe inducing. I mean, listen to how long this pause is.
I think that
here it comes.
This is such a
crickets.
I think that this is a this is, of course, a very long-standing.
That's like 10 seconds of ums. Oh man, that's an eternity in social media. So Trump sent this, one of the best speeches ever, and they sent this. So guys, I'm really not too worried about where we're headed for 2028. The midterms might be tight, but I'm not worried about the presidential election of 28. Trust me on that one. They don't have much to give there. So okay. That was fun. Anyways, Rubio went over there, killed it. This is the Munich security conference. It's one of the biggest international conferences in the world. It's the EU, blah, blah, blah stuff. And we just are dominating. It's just clear. MAGA, what the Trump administration is doing, we are owning these people. And I know that here, this is America, home of the free, land of the brave. We get loud. Our social media dominates, whatever. But when you see our team around the leaders of the world, they are cowering. They are deferential because we are kicking ass. Okay. So that's all you guys need to know about that. Now, that's how we're winning. That's how we're winning abroad. Let's get into the Epstein files because I have a lot of Epstein stuff tonight, including deep dives on what's going on with these ties to the Obama administration, the Steve Bannon updates, and Thomas Massie, because these stories aren't going away yet. They're not going away yet. So we got to get into them and break them down, because this is where they have chosen their battleground right now. The PSYOP battleground, the intel battleground right now is circulating around the Epstein files. It's just where it is. So guess what? We're going into the battleground. We're not shying away. I don't care if you're tired of it. I'm sorry. This is where we win the battle. Sometimes, running away from the battle, talking about other stuff doesn't do anybody any good. We go straight into it. We're fighting the PSYOP. We're going right at it, straight to its face, and delivering, cutting through the best we can to the truth to win these battles. And I'm telling you guys, we are winning. The cracks are starting to show. And it's because of just the few people that are willing to actually say the truth on this stuff. Thomas Massie, even though it's getting louder, his support, it's getting louder because they're having to drown out the people coming against him. He's starting to lose ground in his primary. He could lose his primary, guys, which would be fantastic. No matter what, the Republican who wins that primary is going to win the seat. It's deep red Kentucky. But if we win that primary, Massie's gone. And he's freaking out about it. But that's because people are doing the work. We are winning, even if it doesn't feel like it. Here's an example right here of another one fallen from the Epstein files. Thomas Pritzker, which guess what? Relation to J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, Fatso, big fat boy. Yeah, that's his I don't know if it's his bro or what. But anyways, they're cousin. It's his cousin. And they're connected. This is where he became a billionaire from. They run the Hyatt hotels, okay? Trust fund boys. But they're out. Like, he's out now because of the Epstein files. This is one of the reasons why Pritzker, JB, is been trying to run for cover with these Epstein files lately. You don't hear him calling out for it very much, even though the other Democrats were. They in the files, bro. So he is stepping down as chairman. Guys, that's a big deal. Okay. Again, some of these people are not going to prison. These crimes are a long time ago. Most of them, I've named all the reasons. I don't have to go through it again. But they are losing their careers, spend the rest of their lives hidden in shame. I mean, it's not the best, but you know what? They can still get theirs in the next life as well. Judgment comes for us all. It's just a matter of time. So they are moving along. Now, let's get into the Obama stuff, because this story is getting wild as it comes out. So you guys remember Kathy Ruemmler, all in the Epstein files. She was the counsel to Obama. And this woman has just notified, she's working at Goldman Sachs, I believe, getting ready to go down. She's notified them of her resignation in a couple months. Her career's over. But listen to this. It's coming out more and more just how involved she actually was in the Obama administration. And it's more than anybody had guessed before.
That did vetting and ethics. So our office was responsible for vetting every cabinet member. So, and we had, in our administration, we had quite rigorous standards. And so it would be a big failure if someone turned out to have, not not filed their tax returns appropriately, or, something like that, or, a big issue that would come up would be with household help and people not paying taxes on either a nanny or a housekeeper or something like that, or landscaping people, that type of thing. I'm really disheartened by what I think is sort of the devaluing of the office, or in some ways almost a debasing of the office of the president, right. which is something that,
she's just going to go after Trump the rest of it. Did you hear what she said? She says she was in charge of vetting Obama's cabinet. In other words, she was the gatekeeper. She was the kingmaker for the Obama administration. He turned that over to her. This is actually massive because it means that through her, Epstein had influence over the entire Obama administration. And here we have coming breaking down Svetlana Logolfa. She's been doing a great job on this Epstein stuff. It says Epstein sussed Obama out very easily. All Obama wanted to do was make as much money as possible. So Epstein befriended Obama's top lawyer / fixer, Kathy Ruemmler. Epstein and Ruemmler made tens of millions on the back of the deals with the Obama DOJ. How much did Obama get as a cut? Great question. Very interesting right here. All Obama wanted to do was make as much money as possible. Do you know the Obamas? This makes a lot of sense. They got into the office. They were worth like, I don't know. He was a senator. He had his book, The Audacity of Hope, that sold a bunch of copies. And so he'd made a little bit of money. He might have been a millionaire by that point, $2 or $3 million self-worth. They left the presidency worth over $100 million. Yeah, $100 million. How do you get there with a salary of $400,000 a year as president? I don't know. Math ain't mathin', folks. Math ain't mathin'. Even if he saved every dollar of that salary and never spent a dime of it, that's only $3.2 million over 8 years. Yeah, that's a lot further away from $100 million. So it says make as much money as possible. Now we know Obama was trying to destroy the country. That's absolutely for sure. I mean, you could just look at the policies, but these people always sabotage themselves because ultimately they always are selfish. And what is the biggest criticism of Obama from the Democrat side, not from the Republican side? We have our own, and MAGA side. From the Democrat side, the biggest criticisms of Obama was always that he didn't build the bench. He didn't spend any time building up, finding new talent for the Democratic Party and creating successors to lead the party going forward. Like what Trump's doing. Trump picking J.D. Vance, elevating him, giving all this time and experience to become presidential. Marco Rubio, same thing. Trump is building a team. That's why MAGA is so strong, because it's not just Trump, because Trump delegates and uplifts. Obama only cared about himself this whole time. And he figured he'd just turn it over to Clinton when he was gone, and he'd go live in Martha's Vineyard while all of us were losing our money, slaves, whatever they unleashed on the world. Just it all got worse for us. Take away, they're all clinging to their guns and religion. This guy hated us. All he cared about was himself. And it's still the same thing. Even in the Trump administration, Democrats get mad at Obama for not speaking out enough because he doesn't care. He's like, well, I give it my best shot. No, I'm just going to go be rich. That's all Obama cares about. And it totally adds up. Well, when you're greedy like that, it opens doors. And through Ruemmler, Epstein, we already know all of his ties here and there, but it definitely looks like he was having some puppeteering going on in the Obama administration, because Ruemmler might have been, well, actually absolutely was, based on what we saw, one of the main decision makers of the Obama administration. Gatekeeper, the vetter of the staff. That matters. Susie Wiles right now, everybody who's anybody understands politics and current politics understands Susie Wiles is one of the most powerful people in this Trump administration as chief of staff. She's not out there in public. They love to attack her. They love to create narratives, but she's actually one of Trump's most trusted people, and she controls the staff. She's a big deal, and Trump obviously trusts her majorly. Okay. These people have a lot of power. So if Epstein's pulling her strings, that means he's pulling Obama's strings. Let's get into a little further here. Obama's buddy, Catherine Ruemmler, represent Obama's former national security advisor, Susan Rice. Susan Rice, one of the other heads of the Obama administration, whispering in Obama's ear about everything. Nasty woman. Nasty, vile, evil woman. She is one of the worst of the worst. and Ruemmler represented her as well. She's in all of it. She's all over this entire organization. Here's a letter Ruemmler sent to Grassley on behalf of Rice, justifying the infamous email Rice sent to herself, memorializing Obama's order to keep the Russia investigation secret from the incoming Trump administration National Security Advisor General Flynn. Order was part of the conspiracy against President Trump. Epstein advising Ruemmler, talking to, guess who at this time? Steve Bannon, talking to Michael Wolff on how to destroy Trump. One of the things that kept coming up with Michael Wolff, not with Bannon, was the Russia stuff. And then Ruemmler, talking to Epstein about this as well, is putting together letters after talking to Epstein, getting his advice, and sending them on behalf of Susan Rice. This is wild. If anybody thinks that Trump is one of these people, you are so gone at this point. You have no idea what you're talking about, because it is so clear that Epstein was totally in with the Democrats, 100% in there, puppeteering them, controlling this administration in some aspects, or at least having major sway with them because of the money, because of the influence. He was deeply embedded with them, but from afar, with just enough separation. It is interesting, and this tells you how Obama is clever. I can't stand Obama. I think he's maybe the most evil president we've ever had. He's definitely the worst in modern times. Just a totally amoral person. But he is smart. He's clever. And what Obama was clever about versus Clinton is that Obama didn't allow himself to get one-on-one with Epstein. But that just tells you he's smart. And how is Obama smart? Well, of course he was. He was groomed from the time he was a little boy growing up. His mom was CIA. He's raised to be the Manchurian Candidate. He's raised to not make the mistakes. And so that's why we don't have the direct Epstein connection, but Ruemmler is the direct connection. Do you understand? The fixer. Obama, I guarantee you. Hey, well, what? We need to talk about what Jeffrey thinks about this. Why don't you go email Jeffrey? Go email Jeffrey and come back to me with your advice. Okay? How about you go do that? That's exactly what's happening. I guarantee it. Don't tell me about it. Or, he's being coy. I don't know exactly how it went down, but the point is, there's no way he didn't know. Susan Rice, this close to it. I mean, come on. This is crazy. Your lawyer, when you are at these levels, the person you put in charge of vetting your entire cabinet is going to be one of your most trusted people. They are going to be one of your closest people, because you are entrusting them with your secrets. And if they screw up, it falls on you. They have to be completely in with you. This person does not just go run rogue. By the way, greatly rewarded for her work, getting a cush job at Goldman Sachs afterwards, which was where Jeffrey Epstein started and also where Steve Bannon started. Goldman Sachs, dirty place, I got to tell you. Not a lot of good coming out of Goldman Sachs. Gross. Obama was the Goldman Sachs president as well. That's why nobody got busted after the great financial meltdown. He's all Wall Street, baby. Because in Wall Street, it's all deep state. Oh, my God. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. But we see how evil all this is. You know what we never saw in any of these emails? We never saw Epstein conspiring with Trump people on how to elevate Trump and his administration. It's the opposite the entire way. The entire way. It's wild. And people are like, Trump's one of them. I'm trying to be nicer. It's like, I need to be nicer. I need to stop calling people retards, but I'm saying If you still think Trump's one of these people, you're probably retarded. All right, you just don't follow this stuff at all. So we have this $25 million contract between Epstein and the Rothschilds. This contract hires Epstein through his company STC to assist the Rothschild Group in resolving sensitive, outstanding issues with the U.S. government involving the Rothschild holdings. What? And Svetlana reports this is what Epstein was paid for resolving the tax evasion case with the Obama DOJ. They're just laundering that money to him, baby. Kathy Ruemmler, Obama's top lawyer, who Epstein handed over the Rothschild account the moment she started private practice, negotiated the deal for herself, got $10 million, and Epstein got $25 million. What did that man get? What did Obama get out of that? That's a good question, right? He walked away with $100 million after his administration. He's doing okay. He's obviously getting some of this money. Brett, you're gonna keep calling people retards for me? I appreciate it. For the Love says they want Trump to be so involved so bad it's gross. Absolutely. Lockfeld says zero good comes from Harvard, Goldman Sachs, Columbia, JP Morgan Chase. I gotta mostly agree with that. They did sacrifice Bear Stearns 100%. Yeah, Obama bailed out the banks. That's true. It's all true, guys. And we're seeing a lot of this go. Now, Zero Hedge has been busting out this story, which is interesting. So Epstein plus Obama, advanced team member John Dock. You see this Epstein plus Obama? I mean, everybody can see the connections. It's just crazy. Caught with a prostitute in a Cartagena hotel room, plus Obama's then top lawyer, Ruemmler, cover-up, which cost her the AG job. Someone at DOJ should make a phone call or two. So there's this scandal. They cover it up. Ruemmler and Obama cover up this prostitution scandal and blame the Secret Service member for it, and 10 of them lose their jobs. These people are sick, man. Sorry, my eye is itching. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to finally take me out here. Getting a red eye. This is wild. This is wild stuff. You can just see it all over the place. Like Ruemmler was just running things behind the scenes there. This didn't like. Only the people paying the most attention could have ever found this out back then, because we didn't have X sharing all the details. So somebody doing the best of the best reporting or somebody in the know, this is the kind of stuff Obama just got away with back then. And we didn't know about Epstein back then either. Imagine if this stuff had come out during the Obama administration. Imagine if we'd had control of X then. Imagine if anybody knew who Epstein was back then. This would have brought down the entire Obama administration. This is a scandal above scandals, and everybody's still like, oh, Trump's doing the cover-up. Covering up what? What is he covering up? Maybe there's a couple names of his friends that they redacted. Maybe. We don't even know that, by the way. That's just the narrative being tossed around. Yes, Howard Lutnick's in the files. He's having to explain himself. That doesn't look good. It doesn't, but it does look explainable. And knowing what we know about Epstein, his story could make sense. We'll see how that plays out. But that's it. Other than that, Trump's entire orbit is pretty clean. And even Trump himself, the more files come out, he just gets exonerated more and more every time. So what exactly is Trump covering up? Marjorie Taylor Greene, what do you got to say about it? Hey, Thomas Massie, what exactly is he hiding? You retards with your, and I'm talking about Massie and Ro Khanna. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. We're gonna get to how they are out there as if they're these big tough guys with these names and how's that's going for them. We'll get into this. Zero Hedge writes, first of all, here's a letter Epstein helped Ruemmler draft for the scandal, which was sent to the Washington Post. Carol Lenning defending Doc from the sprawling prostitution scandal. Epstein helped Ruemmler draft this. So crazy. Oh, man. And then, beyond the obvious questions of the Obama administration cover-up, which Congress DOJ should ask, the most important one, why did Obama's top lawyer feel necessary to summon the help of Epstein in planning her defense against the Obama biggest prostitution scandal. I wonder why. Jeffrey was the one funneling all that money around. Jeffrey Epstein was not a genius. He wasn't. Brett Weinstein, actually it's Eric Weinstein. Eric Weinstein does this excellent breakdown of when he met Epstein, because everybody met Epstein, right? There's anybody who's anybody. And he said Epstein fancied himself like this big, smart, scientific guy. And Eric Weinstein started like trying to talk to him. If you've ever listened to Eric Weinstein talk, he is brilliant. He's kind of annoying sometimes. He's kind of dull, but he is brilliant. And he's one of those guys that's like so smart he doesn't have some common sense. But when it comes to physics and stuff, he's crazy. And he's crazy smart. And so he was trying to get to like Epstein to talk about some things, and Epstein just was like making stuff up on the fly. Epstein's not this brilliant guy. No, the reason you keep Epstein in the know is because Epstein had the secrets. He had the connections, and he could get you the money. That's why you kept him in, because he was a handler. He was a networker. He was the rewarder. That's why you keep him in the loop, which means in a roundabout way, he's got a lot of the control. You check in with Jeffrey is what you do. Make sure he clears it. Make sure he gives you the right language. It's wild stuff. And this, again, is one of the people closest to Obama the entire time. Sidney Lewis says they're the same who ran the Biden administration after. Absolutely, they did. Yeah. Christina says, I was thinking the same thing. Why are people so obsessed with Trump? Because it's not because they're not watching the same show. Some of them aren't. But it's mostly because they just want it to be true. And I got to say, there's some people on the MAGA side who have the same issue. And that issue is that we want something to be true, and it might not be. And for the Democrats, they want so bad for these Epstein files to prove Trump is a pedophile and it takes him down, and it's not going to. So they are going to hold on to it until they can move on to something else. They're just going to believe that there's always some mystery file that hasn't been revealed yet. Or they're going to lie outright about the files that have already come out. I've seen that a lot, actually. On the MAGA side of things, there are a large portion of people, not that large, but large enough to matter and be loud, that believe there are some deep, deep, deep things still hidden in these files that we haven't uncovered yet. That there's some names that are just going to come out. There's going to be something so obvious about either Obama or Hillary Clinton or, name a senator they don't like. That'll be so obvious it'll just finally end it. But that's not what's happening. And I don't think it's going to happen that way. Now, we could get more files and it could really accelerate things. I do think there is going to be some more that comes out. Don't get me wrong. But if we're thinking it's going to be the one thing that just changes everything, if it's going to be people have built their hopes up and their expectations up on this so high that the truth is probably 99% going to be a disappointment to them. And they're going to always want to believe it was covered up. Not much you can do with that. But what we can do is work with what we have and see what it's heading towards and what it's doing. And people are waking up because of this. We should be celebrating it. Celebrating that Pizzagate has been basically proven to be real, that the Q operation has basically been proven to be real. We should be celebrating those things because it shows that the conspiracy theorists were right. What else are they right about? We should be celebrating the fact that these names are coming out and these organizations, these ties to the Obama administration, the Biden administration, and the Clintons, that they are coming out enough where the public can't deny. That is power. This right here, just this little scandal right here, in the 70s would have been enough to take down a president. In fact, this is worse than what Nixon was pushed out for. This is worse. Right here in these two paragraphs, knowing who Epstein is, this is worse than Watergate. That, my friends, should give you some perspective on what a big deal this is and how it just sometimes it takes some time to spread. It takes some time, you know, the dough takes a little time to rise. Okay. After you get everything in it, it needs to be in it. Lochtefeld says, you think Epstein was bad? Soros makes Epstein look like small potatoes. He does. I agree with you, but Soros isn't in America. And I think Soros is a lot smarter than Epstein. And so I don't know if we'll ever get the same exposure of Soros. But in a way, we've already had some more with Soros because his money we've been able to trace for so long. But All the Love says, oh, you have to look at history. Trump's always been with women, not young girls. Yeah, exactly. Bill and Hillary's testimony coming up should be interesting. I think they might have already testified. It just hasn't been released yet because it wasn't a public testimony. Now look at this. This is one last thing I want to show you guys and how this ties to it. So in the 2000s, okay, up until Epstein was finally busted for good in 2019, he had the Zorro Ranch is insane. Okay. This is where a lot of the worst stuff happened. And yet, listen to this. The massive ranch where his survivors' stories happen, not touched, not even once. The DOJ literally told New Mexico, don't investigate. We got this. Now, that DOJ was Obama's DOJ. And then the first term Trump DOJ run by Bill Barr. Bill Barr, whose father helped get Epstein started. Yeah, that Bill Barr. Direct connection to Epstein. This ranch was allowed to run with all this crime and all this disgusting stuff during the entire Obama administration. Nobody ever took a peek at it. And then when they busted him in 2019, Bill Barr told his guys, hands off. We're not doing this. Are you kidding me? And Trump's deep state, this is insane. It's insane. So again, just this, I mean, I'm just going to come back to this. If somebody brings this up and they're like, why is it a big deal? Just go to this. Ruemmler, who's already stepping down, was so close to Obama that she was his fixer and she was using Epstein. And that alone, it just tells me that Epstein had his hands all up in the Obama administration. So that's it's just wild. This just goes deeper and deeper. Okay. Let's get to Bannon. Hold on real quick. Brett says, if Big Bill did the usual circular retard answers his testimonies to be very interesting, can you define inhale? Bill used to be, I mean, even though he's scum, Bill Clinton used to be one of the kings of spin. That man could answer a question and he could spin it positive for himself. He was one of the best to ever do it. Let's just be honest. That doesn't mean it was good because he's a crook and a pervert and more than that. But he was great. He was great on camera. He was great with people one-on-one. Great in testimonies. Really good at getting out of that stuff. But this one's interesting about the Bill and Hillary testimonies they were supposed to give to Comer. They both wanted it to be public, which is interesting. I think they were ready to make a show of it, which tells me they weren't going to plead the fifth. They had stock answers, and the Clintons are shisty. We cannot forget that. The Clintons are not the Bidens who are retarded, okay? They are just so stupid. Even Obama hated Biden, called him an idiot all the time behind his back. Obama is lazy. Obama has all the tools, but he's lazy. He's lazy and greedy, so he just stepped out. He just loves being loved and doesn't want to do the fight. The Clintons are, when it comes to the Democratic Party, they're the worst because they are smart, they are devious, they're clever, and they're really, really good under pressure. They just are. The Clintons are the most dangerous. Now they're getting older. They're moving out. We don't have to worry about them much anymore. But they are devious. And so them saying Cindy Lou says, I thought it was at the end of the month. Maybe it was. I thought it was going on a week ago, and then they were going to release the transcripts later. I could be wrong about that. Regardless, the fact that the Clintons wanted it to be public tells me they had a plan, and they were going to probably blow up the Republicans and outsmart them. Let's be honest. Most of the Republicans on these committees, they're not smarter than the Clintons. I tell you all the time how bad Congress is. Hillary, we all know she's responsible for Benghazi. We all know it. She is as crooked as it gets, as wicked as it gets. And yet, she somehow, when they had everything on her, she won the Benghazi hearings. Skated out. Perfectly free and clear. In the public, like most of the public's eyes. I'm just telling you. She's crafty. She is very crafty. But so we don't want them to be public because they would put on a show. And I've come around on it. I think it's a smart of Comer to actually try to grill them behind the scenes and get a transcript so they can't put on the show. I don't know. It's like, I don't fear the Clintons anymore because they've been so defanged. They just don't have any power anymore. But why give them a chance? Why give them a chance to use what they got? I say don't even do it. Don't even give them a chance. Because they are the ones who still could probably land a couple hits if given the chance. Bill and Hillary, their entire lives are built around performing evil acts and grabbing more power. And they've been able to do quite a bit of that because of their cleverness. So anyways, okay, let's move on to Bannon. Okay, Bannon, finally, what I was asking for him to do, finally issued a statement on the Epstein chat logs. Yes. Thank you, Steve. What do you have to say to us, Steve? Tell us why you are all over the freaking files. By the way, Raheem Kassan runs the National Pulse. So Bannon, this is the only place I saw the story being ran. Bannon went to his buddy to get a nice, easy going story on this, which is, again, that's just not the best. He should have done this whole thing on War Room. Maybe he did. I didn't watch today, but here's his statement. Bannon issued a statement on Epstein chat logs. War Room host and former Trump White House chief strategist Stephen K. Bannon has addressed his appearance in the Epstein files, confirmed the upcoming release of a documentary on the deceased pedophile. Bannon, America First stalwart. Look at this puff piece, man. Exchanged many texts with Epstein in the months before his death in federal custody as he was preparing a documentary on him. I am a filmmaker and TV host with decades of experience interviewing controversial figures. That's the only lens through which these private communications should be viewed. A documentary filmmaker working over a period of time to secure 50 hours of interviews from a reclusive subject. This would later be released and destroy the very myths Epstein created. I mean, look at this. It's just like you can tell he had his buddy do it. The documentarian spending time with subjects they intend to cover critically is not uncommon. Okay. This is hard-hitting journalism right here, Raheem. The famously Martin Bashir was recorded comforting Michael Jackson, telling him he was a wonderful father. Look at this puff piece. It's totally covering for Bannon. A spokesman for Bannon. You are the spokesman for Bannon, Raheem. For Bannon confirmed his interactions with Epstein were an attempt to ingratiate himself for the documentary. Notably, this is just, it's all just trying to puff up Bannon. Guys, this is pathetic. I hate to say it, Bannon, you could have done so much better. This is pathetic. I'm sorry. At this point, when you release your documentary, it better be the greatest thing we've ever seen, because you cannot tell me that getting in with Epstein just to perform this documentary is why you were plotting against Trump. You cannot tell me why you offered up information about getting John Bolton into the administration to sabotage Trump. You cannot tell me that you're offering that information to Epstein in order for a documentary. You can't tell me that when Epstein told you to form a media company to get around FARA, that you started one a month later. You can't tell me that had to do with the documentary, Steve. Come on. You got to do better than this. This is so pathetically weak. And to go to your buddy, who's literally a mainstay on War Room, Raheem Kassan, always on there, to go to him and have him write this puff piece for you. This is the response? This is pathetic. This makes it look worse, Steve. Oh my God, this is so bad. This is so awful. So we just got to cover what else is coming out. Epstein to Steve Bannon. Don't forget to visit Dr. Kruger. I need you alive and healthy for the long game. No you, no movement. Simple math. Does that just sound like you're somebody buddying up for... You're just buddying up for a documentary? Is this the kind of language you use for that? Why offer this? Did you see Trump took my script and lit up the cokes? I mean, my script? This is beyond cozying up. This isn't, where's the question, Steve? Where's the pushing into Bannon to learn about him, or to Epstein to learn about him, to get this story? This is terrible. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene trying to cover. I agree completely. Steve Bannon went to jail for Trump, but back on 1/1/19, he was texting with Epstein after. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene literally went on Bannon's War Room just the other day, and now she's calling him out. Starts like she's covering, and then there's no excuse for having such a friendly relationship with Epstein post-conviction. None. I actually agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene here for once. I actually agree with her. But if she's going to if she's going to go this route, she's not going to have anywhere left in MAGA to go, because the War Room was the only place that I know of that was still bringing her on that wasn't The View. So way to burn this bridge too, Marjorie. But again, I actually agree with her on this. She's right about this. But I love that this got called out. So this is, because this gets brought to me all the time. Well, how could Bannon be bad? He went to jail for Trump. Here's the explanation. He didn't go to jail for Trump. Trump told him he could give them the information. Trump waived his right of executive privilege, which I remember this now. And I did not remember this at the time. But he's exactly right. Trump waived it because he gave everybody permission to speak on J6 because he wanted it just cleared up. So Bannon refused to give the J6 Unselect Committee the information. After the Epstein files revelations, one has to wonder what Bannon was really afraid of coming out. It does make you wonder, doesn't it? I just can't believe how pathetic that response was. It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking. And now even General Flynn is calling him out. White House or DOJ needs to come out and say what they plan on doing with this information. I remember the 25th Amendment talk back in the first term is really ugly. If Bannon and Epstein were behind it, Bannon needs to be brought in for questioning. He needs to address this and all the other shit he was doing on behalf of Epstein. The walls are closing in. The walls are really closing in on Bannon right now. So this is actually causing a rift, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because you're going to have there are people very loyal to General Flynn, and then there's people loyal to Marjorie Taylor Greene. They think her and Thomas Massie are like the only two America First people now. You obviously have people loyal to Bannon, and so you're going to have the Raheem Kassans, the Jack Posobiec's. They're all going to side with Bannon. He made them. They're going to stay there. You have these people leaving, which is going to hurt War Room's viewership. It's all like everything's changing. It's got like MAGA's in a fragile position right now. And I don't mean long term or anything. I'm not worried about the movement long term or anything like that. But I mean, right now, we're in a fragile position as far as our leadership and media outside of Trump. And I got to say, I actually think that's a really good thing. I think it's a really, really good thing. Because we need this to be exposed, because there's a lot of clingers to Trump. There's a lot of people who've just been making their name and fortune off Trump and the MAGA movement. And so if they are clingers, if they're grifters, it's exposure time. It's time to cut all that off. And in this is a cleansing moment. There's a purification moment where Trump, the Epstein files, they're allowing MAGA to be purified again. We got to go through this every few years. Just like Trump, in the off years between 2020, he left 2021. Between January 2021 and the election 2024, Trump was cleansing MAGA, purging it, especially on the political level where he was getting his advisors, he was building his team. It was a cleansing period. Well, now we're going through another cleansing period, and it's in the media side of things, the influencer side of things, and it's just very good long term, but it's going to be painful for a bit. We're going to see a lot of people fall off. And the Bannon thing is interesting. Again, I'm not saying I'm 100% Bannon's bad. I'm not 100%, because he has done good things. I am saying I am extremely suspicious of the man now, and I cannot trust him. And I am definitely leaning more towards the fact that he's just a grifter out for himself. I'm leaning that way. I am still very open. If we get something incredible, if he drops an incredible documentary on Epstein that just blows everything up and exposes the deep state and changes the world, awesome. If it comes out that him and Trump were in cahoots working together trying to infiltrate Epstein, awesome. But we need something that big now to bring Bannon back into the fold. Because, guys, as smart as Bannon is, this is so pathetically weak and stupid, this response story. It's just so bad. And look at Kazan, how he promotes it. New National Pulse. Bannon issues statement on chat logs, commits to film release this year. And then it writes that crap story. It's just so bad. So bad. And then we got this circulating right now. Here's Cernovich years ago, 2017, right after Trump got in there and after he outed Bannon. Here's Cernovich giving us a little insight into Steve Bannon.
Bannon is removed, there are going to be divorces because I know about the mistresses, the sugar babies, the drugs, the pill popping, the orgies. I know everything. If they go after Bannon, the mother of all stories is going to drop, and we're just going to destroy marriages, relationships. It's going to get personal. I will go TMZ. I will go TMZ on the Globalist. I will go Gossip Girl on the Globalist. I will go Gawker on the Globalist. So you mother effers going after Bannon, just know I broke two of the biggest stories first before anybody else. Bloomberg, Eli Lake are stealing my journalism. If you think I don't know about your pill popping, you think I don't know about the pills people are popping, the mistresses, the sugar babies, I know all of it. So you better be smart. Because the mother of all stories will be dropped, and I don't care. You now know that I don't care. I don't fear you. I don't fear your neocon globalists. Hire public relations firms. Pay off Bill Mitchell to call me names. Fabricate things about...
So Cernovich threatening blackmail on anybody who goes after Bannon. Well, that's interesting. Cernovich, buddy, if you're one of the good ones, why would you hide it in the first place if this is all going on? Shouldn't this all just be outed? Aren't you a journalist? Aren't you somebody who loves exposing the truth, loves exposing corruption, and yet you're just going to hold all this just to protect Steve Bannon? That's kind of iffy. It's usually not the good guys doing stuff like that. Just saying. That's kind of weird. I don't know. And then there's this. So I don't know if this guy has good sources or not. So I'm reporting this as a rumor, and we'll see what happens. Okay. This for all the people who are like, oh, everything you say is crap. You don't bring, blah, blah, blah. You don't really say stuff. I just said I'm reporting this as a rumor because it wouldn't surprise me based on these Epstein texts. I know this, if this happened to a CEO at a major company, it would destroy a lot of companies. So I'm reporting this rumor because it feels true. We'll find out if it is later. But it said War Room is in shambles behind the scenes. Moles are saying there's panic among the ranks. They don't know how to spin this. Are just pushing forward, ducking and weaving. It's not going away. Con Inc. is exposed. I gotta say, guys, the story that came out tells me that they don't know how to spin this because this is pathetic. So that absolutely adds up. We'll see where this goes. I'll definitely be staying on top of it because one way or the other, the Bannon stuff has to be sorted out, because if Steve Bannon is actually an asset against Trump this entire time and has been duping everybody in MAGA, that's going to be one of the biggest political stories of the last decade, of the last 25 years, maybe the last 50 years. Bannon's that important. So this has to be reported on. We have to keep hounding on them until we get answers, because this is so bad and it just keeps getting worse. More and more people are finding emails and these text exchanges between him and Epstein, and it just keeps getting worse. So Steve, do better, brother, because what we're seeing right now, there's literally no reason to think we can trust you anymore. None. Zero. Zip. And War Room, if it falls, it's going to be a big deal. There will be people who replace it, because MAGA is not going away. MAGA is the people. This is a real movement. These people will find ways to get informed. They will move on. They will suck it up, be strong, and coalesce elsewhere. They'll find the truth. And but we don't. I mean, if War Room can be good, if Bannon can be exonerated, that's the best case scenario. The less people fall, the better. But if it needs to happen, it needs to happen. And speaking of falling, we got to finish with the masshole himself. Thomas Massie has been on a heater of douchebaggery lately. And so we need to call this out. Actually, let me get to the... So first things first, guys, please hit that like if you're enjoying the show, if you're learning anything. If you want to keep watching other shows, hit that like, hit that subscribe, share on X. I appreciate it. Hit that repost. And let me answer some of those questions here, or bring out some of these comments. Let's see. Christina says, it's really bad, this response after what we saw in writing. And you want people to swallow this, choke on the marshmallows. Lots of people saying they never felt good about Bannon. He doesn't look like he showers. Cindy Lewis says, the only reason Bannon pressed for Trump to release the files is because he didn't think Trump would. He didn't make the administration look bad. I mean, that's why Massie did it. That's why Ro Khanna did it. There's a lot of people who you could say did that for sure. Bannon reeks. David says, I can't see how Bannon comes out of this. For the Love says, sounds like Bannon was part of the team trying to take Trump down. That's what the texts literally are talking about, a lot of them. Yeah, exactly. What's up, Mike? Katzing says, a lot of Dem voters joining MAGA. Are you seeing that? Because I see a little bit of it, but I wouldn't say it's in a big... The left has had, for their marketing purposes, a good 5 weeks. They really use that ICE stuff to the extreme, but it's already died down and they're scrambling again. And then they have AOC, Taiwan, economics with war, and Just these answers. It's gonna really hurt them soon. So MTG to replace Bannon. Oh my God. No, that show's not going anywhere. Because for another thing, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not interesting. She's not a good speaker. Listen, Bannon is brilliant. That's why he's been able to keep the show going so long. He is a smart dude. He knows how to captivate an audience. He knows how to speak. He knows how to build a movement. He's a smart dude. And that's why, if he is crooked, he's been able to hide so long, because he's played it very smartly. Okay, we got to move on to the mass hole. All right, here's an example. The Thomas Massie fraud. By the way, if you are still on the Thomas Massie side of things, which I've been getting a lot of comments lately and a lot of messages lately of people really hating how much I'm going after Thomas Massie. I don't know how you ignore something like this.
The Epstein class notion resonates. Bad people did bad things, and that the Trump administration are letting them get away with it. And more importantly, they're not just letting them get away with it, they're actively participating in the cover-up.
What a lot of my colleagues are calling the Epstein class.
This is the Epstein class ruling our country.
The Epstein class who is running this government.
The Epstein class are rigging the rules, protecting themselves, while ordinary people in America are getting shafted.
He's still in with the Epstein class. This is the Epstein administration.
The Epstein class
What? Thomas Massie? Did I just hear you say that? Did you just get your marching orders, bro? Did you just get the script? Angelo Carlusone, Media Matters, one of the most hardcore, far leftist, extreme media companies. Total rag, disgusting people. Jamie freaking Raskin, one of the worst in Congress. Guy calling for civil war last year. Remember when I was getting all that crap? Look, Jamie Raskin said there's going to be a civil war if Trump wins. It's like, no, there won't be. He's just an idiot. John Ossoff, Georgia Democratic senator who stole his Senate seat after in 2020 in the runoff election. Hardcore Trump hater. Morning Joe, MSNBC tool. Enough said. Ro Khanna, one of the most leftist Democrats there is, tries to pass himself off as an everyman. Total fraud. Just got the wealth tax in California that cost California $1 trillion in billionaires leaving the state. These are some of the worst on the Democratic side, running their whole Epstein class narrative right now. This is like Sesame Street, guys. Which one of these don't belong with the others? Masshole. I
resonate.
I try not to hate people, but I cannot stand this man. He is awful. This guy is so bad. If you guys cannot, if you still think he is America First truther boy, explain this. Explain the talking points going out from the left, and you are touting the same thing. That, my friends, is about as obvious as it gets. But I got more. Ro Khanna and Massie implied 4 redacted names in the Epstein files were co-conspirators, and the DOJ was covering for them. The DOJ unmasked the names. It turned out they were random guys involved in a lineup. Do you guys remember last week when I played the clip of Ro Khanna saying the 4 names, and I read those 4 names, and I said, nobody knows who these people are. I said, other than Lex Wessner, who we all knew was in there, and the Sultan, I was like, we don't know who these other 4 people are. They're not a big deal. Why are we making such a big deal about this? Well, it turns out not only was I right, I was wrong on how right I was, because they were such not a big deal that those 4 poor guys were just in the files because they were in a police lineup trying to catch somebody. And that's why they were in the Epstein files. Now, these guys' names have been outed as in the Epstein files because of this retard and Thomas Massie. The 4 men in unredacted files named by Ro Khanna have no ties to Epstein. This is what they told us they had. We got names. The Justice Department. And by the way, guys, if this is one of those things that tells you if you really expect the Epstein files are just going to have massive bombshells still in them that are redacted, I'm sorry, but it might just be a bunch of this. It might just be a bunch of this. Not saying all this, but it might just be a lot of this. Of people who are redacted to actually protect their names because they did nothing. These guys, Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, got to go in and look at unredacted names, find the files they wanted, had a chance afterwards to research who they were looking into and be like, okay, this is nothing, or okay, we got something. And then come to the floor where they are immune from slander laws, from libel laws. They are immune on the floor of the House when they give testimony. They can out any name they want. And this is all they had. I'm sorry, guys. I just... How is anybody stupid enough to still think these guys are heroes? I just don't... How? Here's Massie giving his little speech on ABC. And going so far that even ABC had to correct him.
He's still in with the Epstein class. This is the Epstein administration, and they're attacking me for trying to get these files released.
And again, I'm going to say President Trump has not been accused of anything criminal here. Thank you very much.
What does it say when ABC News is correcting Thomas Massie about Trump not being accused of anything? It's unbelievable. And this guy, this total fraud who has got the libertards cheering him on like he's the greatest hero in modern history, is out there going full anti-Trump BS nonsense. The Epstein class. He's now labeling President Trump as the Epstein class. That, my friends, is a classic PSYOP maneuver. You don't do that when you're trying to get to the truth. You do that when you're trying to destroy an opponent. Trump was great at it. Think about it. Lion Ted, Crooked Hillary, Low Energy Jeb. This is great stuff. And now they found their running order, like their here's your orders, here's what you're going to run with to label them, and we hope it sticks. The Epstein class. That, my friends, is that's pathetic. It's just pathetic. And what's even more pathetic is a lot of people are buying into it. It's just, again, when this is your crowd, you really need to rethink where you're at. This, if I was his opponent, Thomas Massie's opponent, Ed Galstein, I would turn this into an ad, and I would run it over and over and over again. In fact, does he have it? I'm just going to do this right now. Hey, at Ed Galstein. Does he come out? Galrain. Ad to defeat Thomas Massie. Let's see if he sees it. I mean, I would run this over and over and over again. Is it just, I mean, it's just crazy. It's so crazy obvious. All right. Look at this. The principled man, Thomas Massie. Again, listen, I got to put a poll up. I got to put a poll up. As I need to ask a question. After everything we've covered on this show. By the way, real quick, guys, if you don't mind hitting that like, I'd appreciate it. All right, where is the chat? There it is. It was not coming up for a second. All right, let's do a little poll here. I want to know, how if anybody who's been watching my shows still trusts Thomas Massie. So is Thomas Massie legit? I'll just leave it like that. There you go. Let's see. Let's see who still believes it. Remember, the poll's anonymous, guys, so I won't bite your head off if you answer yes. I'm just interested in what that looks like. They are primarying Massie, and the guy's gained on him. So much so that Thomas Massie, El Principled Man, is fundraising off his latest Epstein hoax. Massie refuses to apologize to the 4 guys he smeared. This from Mike Davis, attorney at law, Senate Judiciary Committee. Here's his ads. I'm fighting aimlessly against a hopeless agenda of hate and stupidity. Let's go. Help me fight. Secure ThomasMassie.com donate. He was quoting Trump. Donate, baby, because I'm the only one. When Bondi crashed her testimony at our hearing, I knew the president would attack me as revenge. What about you, buddy? Calling him Epstein class. Help me stay in the fight. ThomasMassie.com. This is so pathetic. I mean, I get all fundraising with politicians can be pathetic. Okay, I'm not saying that, but look where he's getting, remember, I don't take AIPAC money. Okay. But you are taking Zionist Jewish billionaire Jeff Yaz's money. Yaz, heavily involved in Israeli politics, having sponsored an Israeli think tank that came out with Netanyahu's judicial reform proposals. Donated heavily to moderate Democrats in 24. Moderate Democrats. It's funny he's getting Democratic donors, huh? Why is a Giga Zionist backing the supposedly Thrive Thomas First based? Facing opposition for Trump gets a hand from billionaire mega donor Jeff Yaz. There it is. Yeah. Jeff Yaz gave $1 million to a new super PAC in recent weeks, been advertising in support of Massie's re-election. Huh, yeah. Don't take AIPAC money, but still funded by Israel. That's funny how that works, isn't it? Yeah. Let's keep going. I love what this girl did. Create an account on Blue Sky for a minute to see what Thomas Massie vibes are over there. He's their darling. They're convinced he's going to bring down Trump. The entire administration giddy about it. They care not about Epstein files, but the fact he's their knight that will hand back power to the left. For those who don't know, Blue Sky is like, it's like if every worst of the worst liberal, I'm talking far left, not moderates, all went to the same place to chirp at each other. That's Blue Sky. It is the most leftist social media. It's the MSNBC of social media. And she put it out here. This is when Thomas Massie put his suicides. Is Thomas Massie telling us he's in imminent danger of being killed? Do we need to start a GoFundMe team for him? These are the Democrats. These are far lefties. I just love me some Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna. I'm probably going to get blocked by hundreds for saying this, but Thomas Massie is kind of hot. Starting to love Thomas Massie. I just gave a small donation to Thomas Massie, even though I detest almost every position he holds. But I really, really want elected Republicans to see someone defy Trump and come out on top. Massie losing his seat would be a dangerous lesson we can't afford right now. Thomas Massie's like a dog with a bone. Stay safe, sir. Trump is a psychopath. Thomas Massie, when all said and done, will go down in history as courageous, honest, and admirable. Trump will go down as the most morally corrupt, callous, and destructive liar to ever live in the White House, ever. I never thought I'd say, oh, F yeah, Thomas Massie out loud, ever, but here we are. As I say this, it surprises me as a Democrat in Kentucky. Thomas Massie is a respectable Republican for now. May his tribe increase. This is crazy. This is the left. If you think that's what you want to be as a Republican, as a guy, is even a libertarian, you crazy, bro. You crazy. And now we're finding out this. Massie and Ro Khanna killed efforts not only to add more resources towards the review process that would have helped the DOJ not be so overwhelmed, but also doing more to help protect people, victims, or had nothing to do with Epstein. Here's the story. I've spoken with members of Jonathan Turley report who are part of the conference on the petition to force the release of these documents. Massie and Khanna opposed efforts to amend the petition to allow for greater resources to review the millions of documents. Why? Is it because you maybe wanted the DOJ to be completely tied up here? Guys, I'm telling you, I mean, why? You couldn't throw $1 million in there for some temps? I don't know. Oh, and now Massie's out there saying Merrick Garland performed much better than Bondi after the House hearing. Merrick freaking Garland, the worst AG in our history. Worse than Eric Holder. Merrick Garland, the guy who went after people for praying at abortion clinics. The guy who slammed up threw away the key for J6ers, some of them who just protested and never even went in the building. That Merrick Garland, corrupt, awful human being, terrible man, assaulted our civil liberties, our freedoms for 4 years. And Thomas Massie is now lifting him up over Pam Bondi. What the heck are we doing, folks? Who is still supporting this man? It makes me sick. It makes me sick. All right, if you didn't vote. Where are we at right now? 92% say Thomas Massie is not legit. Only 8% are still on the Massie train. Get your votes in. I want to see if that goes up or down. But 92%, my audience is based. Why? Because all I do is show you guys the evidence. Listen. You know what a lot of people do? They'll sit here on the screen and talk to you like this. And they'll just say whatever they feel like saying. And many people will follow these types. But what do? I show you the stories. I show you the clips. Because I want you guys to see the journey. I want you guys to always understand how I get to where I'm at. I don't arrive at these conclusions because I'm just walking around saying, I hate Thomas Massie. No, I read the stories and the hatred just brews as I keep reading them. It just gets worse and worse. This is supposed to be the hero because he wants the Epstein files out, bro. Come on, bro. He wants them out. He's a real hero. Massie's a real hero. Oh, we're up to 93. 93% say Thomas Massie is not legit to 7% who say he is. That, my friends, is a base crowd. And speaking of frauds, I'm going to throw in one more here. And I don't have time to go deep diving on him. We're going to do this another time. But I mentioned it before. There's a lot of frauds running in this group right now. And in this libertarian movement. And Robert Barnes is one of them. So I just wanted to show some people because this came across today. And I had one person write me who said, I don't understand. I like Robert Barnes. I get it. I used to like him too. But the more you see, the more you learn. And this came across today and I said, oh yeah, I needed to show some of the reasons why I came to where I'm at with Robert Barnes. Well, here's one of them. Donating money to Bernie Sanders in 2016 as a libertarian. I thought, Barnes, you're supposed to be a principled libertarian. Donated to Act Blue. Now, you can make an excuse to $2,700 to Bernie because maybe you're like, I donated so he'd beat Hillary. Okay, you got the money to burn, fine. There's no excuse for ever donating to Act Blue. That's something you just don't do. And then gave money to RFK Jr. in 24, which I wouldn't mind in and of itself, except for the fact RFK Jr. was running against Trump. That's where the frauds start coming out. The money talks, baby. It talks and walks. And that's where you see it. And all this we're going through, the Massie stuff, the Ro Khanna, Barnes is crying out there about how Trump's failing everything, everybody acting like this is the end of the world. And yet, when you ask the voters, 2% say Epstein is the most important thing, according to the latest poll. Most important issues: economy, immigration, politics, social, ICE, Donald Trump. What the hell does that even mean? Donald Trump is an issue. Healthcare, foreign policy, Epstein, climate change. You go to the left, you'd think climate change is the most important thing in the world. 1%. That's so funny. But Epstein, 2 freaking %. That's how much. That's why this is not going to kill MAGA, guys. This is not going to kill MAGA. This isn't going to ruin MAGA, turn it apart. We are going to be fine. We are going to thrive. We are going to have this man along with JD Vance leading us in 28, and it's going to be a great victory. This is not the end. We need to stay on top of things for the midterms, because this man is trying to cost Trump the midterms and ruin his entire presidency this term, along with all these other leftards. Thomas Massie has made he's chosen his side. It's not Trump. Well, we wonder if this man is going to come through, which way he's going to go, but some of the mighty are falling, and it'll live on. It'll live on because everything's coming out. Everything's coming out. We're taking down the Obama administration from the past. We're going to ruin the Clintons forever. We're going to get voter reform one way or the other. We're going to see a booming economy. People are going to wake up at some point as more and more of these files keep coming out, exonerating Trump, showing how evil the Democrats are, showing how evil the deep state is. It's going to wake up more and more people. Foreign policy is going to fall apart. Not our foreign policy. The others, the EU, the corrupt governments in South America. We're going to get Greenland set up, but come on. It's all going to work out, because, guys, social media is a giant psyop. It's a giant psyop. It's important. And just like in the chat right here, D Love says 2%, but if you watch social media, it seems like 95%. That's absolutely right. It does feel like 95%. But it's a narrative. And when people are actually asked, push comes to shove, is this going to change your vote? Most people are like, nah, I just want us to take care of our country, and I want to be able to afford groceries. That to me matters more than anything else. And so even though this is trying to be the thing that takes down Trump, the Democrats are trying to make it happen. Thomas Massie, those types are trying to make it happen. All it's actually doing, guys, is exposing the corruption, exposing the deep state, exposing fake influencers, and showing us who's legit, who's on the right side of history. I come back to it time and time again. I say it over and over again. If you're going to trust anybody, we trust Trump. That's what it comes down to. You don't have to. You can still choose after 10 years where we've kept winning, where we keep making this stuff. We've seen miracles happen where they've tried to kill him, where they tried to lock him up, where we're literally changing the world. You can say, I still don't trust that Trump guy. He's covering stuff up. He's covering it up, even though we don't have names, even though we can't say anything, even though the names we gave you are not even in there, even though we're lying to you. Trust us, bro. Trust us, bro. Trump's the bad guy. That's what we're dealing with. That's the kind of, like, that's who's out there. And just tells you over and over, like, there's a lot of noise, and the noise, it'll convert some unless we keep cutting through it. We just got to keep cutting through it, calling it out, breaking it down, thinking, slowing down. When you see something, and if it bums you out, if it scares you, take the time to see if it's validated. Find a real source. Make sure the administration confirms it. See how the real world impact. Give it the 48-hour rule minimum. 48 hours to see. I know people who have 2-week rules with Trump. They're like, I see some bad. I'm not going to believe it for 2 weeks. We'll see how it plays out. And that's probably smart. Probably smart. But a minimum of 48 hours should be your rule. Let's see here. Let me catch up with you guys before we go. By the way, if you enjoyed tonight's show, please leave a like. Please give a subscribe if you're new. I appreciate the support. If you guys really enjoyed it and you want to become part of the community, join. Why not? It's free. Join for a month for free. Get in the Discord. Get to know these people. This is the greatest group. You'll get to know. They're fun, funny, knowledgeable. We trade information all day long. It's a great group to be in. We laugh, we cry, we carry on, we schmooze, we have a great time. But for real, it's great. You can go in the description, click that link, or hit my pin post on X, click the link, go to the Patreon, get a free month, and then after that, if you want to stay in it, it's $5 a month for Discord and members' lives. So, but yeah, please hit that like if nothing else. Mike Mishler says Obama got 1,000% of his investments if you take $400 million divided by a salary of $400K. Dang, that's a good way of looking at it. Let's see. Raise your hand if you're the 8%. Let's see on the poll. The poll is finishing with 94% say Thomas Massie is not legit. So don't worry, 6%ers. I'm not going to call you out, but that is pretty awesome. It means people are waking up. No to Robert. People are saying they don't want to see that Robert Barnes is a fraud, but I'm sorry, it's true. I remember when Matt Gaetz embarrassed Garland. You're right. Cole Scott says, I'm friends with people close to Massie. TJ Roberts, Kentucky State Rep. A lot of them are young Americans for Liberty Tools who are libertarians who have infiltrated the party. Yeah. I mean, I completely agree with you. Kentucky has a problem. I mean, Ron Paul's there too. So that's absolutely true. Was this Cole Scott says, I'm the only person on YouTube who gets this whole situation. I'm impressed. Cole Scott, thank you very much, sir. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. That's a huge, I might turn that into a banner. The only person on YouTube who gets this. But I mean, thank you. I appreciate that. I think that's why I have a very devoted audience. I don't have a big audience. But I have the best, and I have a loyal audience who sticks with me, and I think it's because they trust me and I bring the receipts, and I'm always going to try to do that for you guys. No, won't change vote. Epstein Files took down the music industry in Hollywood. We're getting there. Yeah. Let's see. Daughter and husband have no idea what Epstein is. They don't follow X, YouTube. Yep. Cole, what do you mean a minority feeling what way? Oh, they do care about it, but it's not going to change a lot of votes is my point. It's people are seeing what they want based on the side they're already on for the most part. So yeah, it gives them that feeling, that injection of a thrill. But the smartest people, which unfortunately is not most voters because most voters don't pay enough attention. But most voters, what will happen, see, because these files are not getting Trump, there's going to be a whole lot of voters who won't care by the midterms anymore. And I know traditionally people are like, yeah, but, you know, where the polls are trending come March, it's pretty much over. I get that. But this is not your typical year in history. It's just not. This is the 250th anniversary of America. The world is changing. Our country is changing. Our politics are changing. Trump is a miracle that he got in twice. What we're seeing is we cannot look at historical trends and compare them to today, which, by the way, those historical trends are not that far back. It's less than 100 years that we've seen this constant flipping back and forth of the House. That is a trend that can be broken very easily and quickly. And people also are much more fickle in their opinions these days. They're much more easily available to change their mind quicker. And with what's coming out with the economy, with what Trump's doing overseas, what I think is going to happen with the voter stuff, and with what more of this trickling out, because the more it comes out, it looks worse and worse for Democrats. Trump's approval in Rasmussen daily tracking hit 41% last week, and everybody was freaking the hell out, including Mark Mitchell, including Rich Barris, all these guys. And you know what? In 2 days, it was back up to 47%. So Trump's approval is not cratering. It's holding steady. They ran their whole PSYOP operation with the ICE raids and the deaths, and they got a couple weeks of boost from that. But that's already fading from the public's eye. And I guarantee you, there's nobody in the world who's smarter, who's more politically savvy than Trump. He just gets it. And when he goes on the trail, the Republicans have like 5-1 fundraised dollars already over the Democrats. It's like 5-1. They have more money. Trump's going to campaign like crazy. I think it's insane to think that this stuff's going to matter that much come the fall. People are turning on Massie. What happens when Massie loses his, like if he loses that primary to Al Galrain, which is possible. I know it's a long shot, but it's possible. It's getting more possible by the day. That takes Massie out of the equation. He'll go down kicking and screaming because he'll have, a few more months left. But yeah, it just shows he's losing support. So I'm not worried about it. Not worried about it yet. Let's see what happens come summertime. And that's where we'll see it. So anyways, love you guys. I hope you have a great night. Thank you for watching. Went long again tonight, but there's just so much to talk about. So anyways, bless you guys. Please hit that like, please hit that subscribe. And as always, we need to end in a prayer because the prayer works. And we're seeing so much good happen if we just know where to look. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. I pray a blessing over everybody watching here, Lord. I thank you for them. And just pray, God, that you be with them in ways that they can just feel your presence and your peace. Pray for Brett, Lord, his health, that you would touch his body and just help him clear up, Lord, so he can get back to full health and back at it, God. And I'm thank you that he made it back tonight. Pray for, Lord, our president, that you protect him, give him wisdom and boldness, Lord, to just keep doing what he needs to do. Then for that entire administration, the same. Wisdom, protection, boldness. Pray for our country, for peace, prosperity, and justice like we've never seen before. And God, just your will be done. I know you gave us this administration as a miracle to save our country. I know we're getting back on track. And God, I know there's going to be a lot more surprises along the way, but ultimately you got this. I believe Trump is doing what he's meant to do, and I don't think he's going to fail. So I thank you for that, but we do pray for him and everybody working on his side, God, those seen and unseen. Pray for all of them, Lord. Protection, wisdom, and just, Lord, that everything that started in this movement is finished. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. God bless you guys. Have a great night. I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.
Headlines screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight.